Some people fall in love with warmth, with kindness. Me? I fell in love with a storm. He was arrogant, cold, impossible. I arrived in Westbridge with nothing but a suitcase and a heart trying to heal. After years of chasing someone else's dreams, I needed a fresh start. I found a small apartment above a flower shop, took a quiet job at the city library, and promised myself I wouldn't let anyone in too close. That promise lasted exactly 8 days until I met him. He walked into the library like he owned it, tall, poised, and dressed like he had just stepped off a magazine cover. His name was Adrian Cross, the infamous heir to the Cross family empire. People whispered his name like a warning. "Stay away," they said. "He's rude, arrogant, impossible to please." And they were right. Our first words were an argument. He scoffed at my book recommendations and said, "I don't waste time on fantasy. Reality is cruel enough." I bit my tongue, but something about him made me curious. Adrian kept showing up, sometimes with a sharp question, sometimes with a cold stare. And always alone. He never smiled, never thanked me, but he kept coming back. Every time I tried to crack the wall around him, and he always reminded me it was built for a reason. One late evening, as I was closing the library, he returned soaked in rain, bruised on his face, and quieter than I'd ever seen him. He didn't speak, just stood there, trembling. I let him in. I gave him tea. And for the first time, he didn't pretend to be invincible. He looked at me, voice low, and said, "It's exhausting being the person everyone expects you to be." That was the moment I stopped seeing him as a prince and started seeing the boy underneath. He began opening up slowly, sharing memories of a lonely childhood, a father obsessed with legacy, a mother who vanished without a goodbye. We started spending time outside the library, on quiet walks and silent coffee shop visits. He never said the word feelings, but I saw it in his eyes and the way he looked at me, like I was something fragile he didn't want to break. The more I got to know him, the deeper I fell. Not for the polished air or the brooding intellect, but for the quiet man who read poetry when no one was looking. The one who traced the spines of old books like they were sacred. I didn't mean to fall, but when love sneaks in, it doesn't ask for permission. Everything changed the night of the charity gala when he invited me, his first public event with someone who wasn't part of his world. People stared, some whispered. His father pulled him aside and warned him to end the distraction. Adrian returned, jaw tight, voice cold, and said, "Whatever we are, it can't work, not in my world." And just like that, he left me standing alone in a room full of diamonds. I told myself I wouldn't cry, but tears fell anyway. I gave him my heart, and he dropped it without looking back. Days passed, then weeks. I tried to forget him, but every book, every street, every cup of tea reminded me of him. He came back, not in a suit, not with flowers, but with a book, the same one I first recommended to him. His eyes looked tired, and then he said, "I was afraid, not of losing my name, but of losing you. I'm not asking for forever, just a chance to try again." I didn't say anything, I just walked into his arms. We started over slower this time, morning texts, notes tucked into books. Silent walks where we didn't need to fill the air with words. He still struggled. He was learning how to love, and I was learning how to trust again. His family didn't stop. The pressure returned, the threats. One night he asked me, "Would you still love me if I lost everything?" I said yes, but I could see the doubt in his eyes. Then came my birthday. He didn't show up. No message, no call. I cried myself to sleep. The next day, I left him a letter. I love you, but I can't keep loving someone who disappears when it matters. 2 weeks passed. Then one day, I heard his voice on the radio, a live interview. He said my name. If she's listening, I just want her to know I'd give it all up. The money, the name, the empire, just for one more chance to love her right. He showed up at the library with no suit or entourage, just him. Holding that same book, he said, "I'm not perfect, but I choose you over everything." I didn't need promises, just truth. So I kissed him, and this time he didn't pull away. Have you ever loved someone who wasn't easy to love? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. And if you believe in love that transforms even the hardest hearts, like, share, and subscribe. Here, we tell stories that remind you love is always possible.